Welcome back into Talking Fitchburg. Joined today from the Department of Trade Consumer Protection. He's back. He's ready to go. It is Michael. And Michael, today we are taking on Data Privacy Day. I was trying to say all that at one word. It's on January 28th this year of 2026. Perfect opportunity to take inventory and making improvements to minimize risk of identity theft, online account takeovers, and many more things like your personal aid, protecting all those things. Woo! Let's celebrate.
That's tough energy to match, but I'll try.
Nevertheless, what a great opportunity to refresh yourself on some great things about online data privacy, just in general. But this year, you're saying we're really focusing on the youngins just as much as ourselves.
We are trying to. So we talk about how no matter your age, where you work, what you do, where you're from, at the end of the day, we're kind of all consumers, and also at the same time, we all, for the most part, use the internet for some aspect of our life. And so one thing that we tied into that is recently we had the holiday season, and we give gifts that typically are going to be connected to the internet or use it in some manner or have some technology. But by and large, we also see a lot of our children or family and friends who are younger who are receiving those gifts, whether it be a phone, a tablet, a new computer. And so now we're taking Data Privacy Day as a reminder to say, hey, don't just think about what you're doing, but also think about who you're responsible for, and are there opportunities that you can protect them as well?
So let's start just in the devices. So let's say you've given the device to your youngin for the first time. The first one that you're recommending is setting up those parental controls. This is just a good habit to get into for all devices, if you think about it. So whether it's pick your poison, right?
Yeah, it is. And we're not here to govern or even encourage, what age parents should be giving devices to or what they should let them see. What we're talking about is, hey, here's some awareness that you can help protect you as the parent. And parental controls is a good example of, one, you can set an example that will make sure that your child can't make an in-app purchase. Because what you might not realize is all of a sudden you set that up so you can get them logged in and your card's attached to it. And then next month you realize that you have a $400 bill increase because the Roblox went crazy. So you don't want to do that. The other thing you want to do is making sure that if there's the opportunities that add passwords or create new accounts, that you limit those so that they're not running off and potentially exposing whether it be a family password or that account password in other areas you're not aware of.
I think just kind of looking at what those controls even are, because they will vary by device. Like you hit the high notes for sure, but I mean, you really can get into the weeds on what you want your kids to participate in or not participate in. So just kind of going through and looking at them for the first time too might be eye-opening. Like, I didn't even know I can stop that. That's what I've learned as a parent. Anyway, talk about internet safety regularly, not just in a one conversation. It's your opportunity to get them when they're young, build that rapport.
It is. We want it to be where it's not important where you give the device, or maybe you watch this and you sit down and you talk about it at dinner, which I hope you do, but then reinforce that. It's like anything, right? It's like muscle memory. It's anything we do is like it takes practice, it takes reinforcement. And we want to say, hey, keep them abreast of what's going on and what they should be looking out for. Or, and it's not just the, hey, look out for the bad guys. It's really of, hey, what else is the risk that might come with your activity online? So we talk about video game chats. So you're in there and you're talking about, well, that's a great opportunity for scammers to learn more about that, not only that child, but their family, where they live, who's home. Recognize and explain to them that, bad guys do this. And so make sure you understand what you're doing. The second part is, if they get that device, understanding what it means when they create multiple profiles across multiple games and how that can build an opportunity for scammers to really target them and their family. We want parents to really kind of reinforce that it's not just the child who's online, it's really the whole family who's online, especially based on what they're saying and they're doing.
Well, and this thing, if you took your device and handed it over to your kiddo, I mean, that I've seen that. I'm guilty of doing that too.
Sure.
I mean, you want to educate for sure. How about using age appropriate? Oops, there it goes. Broke my computer. Age appropriate supervision and limits. I love this. We set limits on our devices for the kiddo. I say we. My wife is really good at this, setting that up. But it's important because they don't know when to stop. They're young enough. They don't know what the end game is, and I think it's crucial to have some limits that you might not be there to stop them.
It is, and it gives you an opportunity to kind of have that supervision even when you aren't there. And we're talking about here is making sure that not just, well, really it is the age appropriate, but the age appropriate for the sense of what will they potentially be exposing themselves to in regards to potential scams or potential opportunities for these bad actors to learn more about them. And this can be done in the privacy settings. And of course we have the content itself. That's a parental decision on what they want to do. But we want the parents to also be like, hey, wait a second. I know that if they go here, there's purchasing power, there's things like this. But then also there's learned behaviors and where else, or potentially sometimes how can you get around parental controls? Making sure that they're looking at, do search engines allow these certain things? So just understanding what is appropriate, and then within those limits of how long do we want them to be able to search through it.
And I think you have to understand too, as a parent, they're great with technology. It doesn't matter the age. It doesn't matter they're there. They're exploring. The mind's wide open. They can grasp stuff and do things that you might not even be aware of.
There's always that funny line where like, well, I didn't know how to do my update, so I just handed my phone to my kid, right?
Yep.
But it's true. Like all of that's grounded in the fact that they are more intelligent and more adept at a lot of these things that are going through. With that brings also, they're more adept at how do we get around it, right? How do we kind of
100%. It blows my mind. I'm like, how did you know that? And they're like, because I watched it. And I was like, oh, yeah, I guess you did. How about, you kind of mentioned this, but the whole family can kind of work together on a kind of universal plan. And the first one is just turning on those automatic updates. We used to think updates were evil. No,
not anymore.
Good.
Not anymore. Yeah, we want to turn on automatic because sometimes they're easily forgotten, and they're so incredibly important. And the one thing I always talk about is we see these automatic updates, and we always think, well, if I do that, then all of a sudden my settings are going to change, and this will look different. And I'm a creature of habit; I want it to be the same. But I say equate it to those also. If you lived at home and you had the back window got broken out, and you knew that there was a potential that bad actor could get into that back window at night when you're sleeping, you would immediately board up that window. Well, that's what these updates are doing. They're recognizing that, hey, we've identified there's a broken window somewhere, so we're going to go ahead and patch and board that up for you. You want to do that. It's not, sure, you might get some new emojis and you might get some new screensavers and stuff like that. But more importantly, you're going to have those security risks closed up.
And don't think of it just as just the operating system. These could be within apps. These could be within
Absolutely.
Brand new devices because the device can't be updated anymore. I mean, think globally. Like I always think that too. Like updates are a lot. There's a lot of different avenues and pieces to that. So breaking out of just your regular update.
It's an excellent point on the apps.
I've again found out the hard way, unfortunately, on that side. Strong passwords, a must.
It is a must. It's a must for the children. It's a must for us. But then also teaching the kids how to use multi-factor authentication. It's like it's so easy nowadays. If you have your phone, you have multi-factor, it pops up. A lot of operating systems will pre-populate it for you, so it takes you less than 5 seconds. The kids are going to know how to do that. It adds an incredible layer of security for you and the child. So turn that on everywhere you can.
Disable auto logins to new apps. Boy, this one is a big one.
It really is. You want to make sure that when they're going someplace else and all of a sudden maybe they're on a new website or they download a new app, that you're not having automatic logins when you're on vacation and you're someplace. So many times maybe you stay at an Airbnb and you log in and you're like, holy cow, everyone's logged into everything and they forgot to log out. Well, now, not some of them, if you get kind of creepy or weird, you might go into the account settings and learn a little bit more about them. Well, that's why you don't want to have automatic logins across these devices when they have them.
Think before clicking. Not an easy one.
It's not an easy one, but you just have to recognize what the risks are. So at least you pause and think about it, that you don't immediately get in the habit of, I see a link, I click on it and I go. Just recognize and say, hey, wait a second, how did I get this link? Did I ask for the link, or did I, was it something that I initiated and when looked for? A little bit safer, but just realize bad things could happen if you click on links that you know where they came from.
And two, if you were sitting at the kitchen table having a discussion and be like, as a parent or as your guardian, whatever, but I've done it. You could explain that to the kid too. Like, this is everybody. This is, I've got to think about it too every time I'm making that choice. Maybe pair it up with some examples too of things that you've done wrong to help kids understand just what it could lead to or how it got you in trouble.
I love that idea of saying, hey, it happens to us and we are at risk, because then it kind of takes away that, well, you're young, you don't understand.
Right.
So you're not smart enough and you'll fall for all these things. No, it's so important that there is no demographic that is completely protected or is not vulnerable to these scams. It is every single age, every single ethnicity, every single wherever you live, what you do, how much you make, where you've been. It doesn't matter. Everyone can fall victim to this.
Oh man, that's a bummer. How about access what permissions and data on an app really needs before downloading it? And I think it falls on those same lines of, there are consequences for downloading, and you just don't know.
Couple things. When you're signing up to the app you're downloading, I realize that not everyone's going to scroll through the 30 pages of terms and conditions. Just understand that within there, you are often going to be giving permission for that app to use your information. Now, apps have gotten better, and they allow you to turn that off, and when you get into the settings and so on, and we encourage everyone to go do that. Is say, hey, wait a second, what are my opportunities to keep my information private, whether it be sharing, but then there's also things like your location. All these apps say, hey, we want to know where you are. Well, if I'm just trying to order a book, why do you need to? I'm going to give you my shipping information. You don't need to know what I'm searching for. So turning off the location, settings like your phone camera. You're taking a picture and then you upload that and you share it online. Well, there's settings in these photo features that will tell you, well, this is where it was taken. This is what time it was taken. Well, if that's put together, you can start kind of figuring out where everybody's been and what was going on. There's no need for a lot of these apps to have all of it. I understand why they ask for it, because that data is valuable to them. But as a parent or even as a user, take a minute to look at what you can keep private.
Yeah. And again, I think talking about those scenarios, sitting down at the table and say, it's all ages. This is something that you're going to deal with the rest of your life, and that as a parent, we're learning it just as much as you are, and it's changing frequently, and we have to remind each other, to work together on it.
It is, and you bring up a good example we can tie to when we talk about credit freezes. We say, hey, make sure you put credit freezes on your young ones because they have the same thing. But to your point, they're also starting to build that identity right away because everything is kind of, that digital footprint is getting bigger and bigger, but you're building it when you start. So if all of a sudden you things go sideways in the beginning, well, that might have ramifications throughout life that you really didn't intend to have or didn't even were aware of. So making sure when you're at that table, you're saying, look, you're kind of building your future with your decisions that you make here. They're that important. So make sure you do it smartly.
It sounds like parenting's hard.
Told it is.
So is life. Nevertheless, it's a great conversation, and if you want to learn more about protecting your data, DATCP's, you guys got it covered, and it has some great materials that I think you could put in front of the young ones and really have that conversation and keep it going. Use this day as a great starter day, but use it as a starting spot to keep on plugging away, chipping away every day.
Yeah, if you want to get past that barrier of, oh, well, you're old, you don't know what you're talking about, and you're better,
Yep.
Go to our website at datcp.wi.gov, click on Consumer Protection. You'll find a whole library of resources that can help do the talking for you. You can just go ahead and share it with them and say, look, the experts right here say this is what you're supposed to do. Kind of makes that conversation a little bit easier, adds integrity to it, makes it more believable, and we'll do all the heavy lifting.
Or just watch Michael. Michael will tell you everything you want to know. Just you watch this interview and you're just good to go.
There it is.
We should have did some fun animations or something, You
can build those in after.
Exactly. Hey, I appreciate the time as always. Look forward to having you back.
Thanks, Jeremy.